So how has your pandemic been? I am back. I rewatched my last video, which was titled Playwriting in COVID-19 or something like that. And that boy did not know what was coming. What a terrible, terrible few years. And honestly, it doesn't seem like it's letting up. I know numbers and whatnot for COVID seem to be endemicizing or whatever, but yeah. I think I left off talking about a possible school tour happening. Different things were getting canceled, but I was hopeful. I had no idea. None of us had any idea that it would be 2 freaking years. And honestly, I stopped vlogging and for a while stopped social media altogether because a couple of reasons. One was I felt like I had nothing to say that was of importance to put out there. But the other side of that is I think I genuinely needed to just go inward. And I have been doing that. It's looked different over the past couple years. There was a period there where I was looking into philosophy. There was a period where I got really deep into Myers-Briggs and personality typing. And then I started to kind of re-investigate spirituality for myself. All the while, playwriting is on hold, musical theater writing is on hold, except for those who had the tenacity to put their stuff on TikTok and online, on Zoom, what have you. And I did stuff. And on paper, you could even look at what happened for me and say that there were some really great things. And there were some really great things. In my last video, I talked about this short play that I was commissioned to write for Berkeley Rep. Any short play that was a part of that Play at Home initiative was, I don't know what the verb is, inducted, was brought into the Library of Congress as kind of a memorial of what artists were doing during COVID. So that's kind of cool. And I even got my first play published, which was not a project that existed before the pandemic, but a play of mine is now published by Playscripts. It's called Iris Lee's Audio Odyssey, a 21st century radio play. It's not yet been produced, but it is there. You can go and look at it and you can purchase it if you'd like. And there are markers throughout the past couple years that could just seem like I was still doing a lot. But let me tell you, I have played so much Animal Crossing and video games in general and watched so much digital content. And then there were also just some personal and family health things that took over. A lot of stops and starts and stops and starts and feeling optimistic and energized only to have the carpet pulled from under me and to feel like I didn't know what was happening. Like that happened several times, as I'm sure you have all experienced. And to make it even harder, it's the knowledge that there are definitely people who have been going through worse. So it makes it harder to process the hard thing that you're going through because you don't want to seem like you're whining. But at the same time, I had to learn to allow myself the space and time to do that, to acknowledge what was hard about my journey through the past couple of years. Because if I didn't, then I would just be kind of avoiding feelings and thoughts, and that wasn't going to be doing me any good. I now remember the thing that I said I was going to do at the end of the last video was I have this great idea for a new channel, And I just got to this place where I did not want that to become where I put most of my time and energy into creating this YouTube channel. It was going to be like a Disney reaction analysis type thing because I love thinking about that and offering thoughtful critique of Disney films. But there are already a lot of people doing that and doing it really well. And I also realized, like, it's fun for me to think about it. It's not fun for me to, like, write out an essay and then to video myself and edit it and make it look good. Like, my first attempt at it, I was just like, no, this is not what I want to be doing. I will say one positive for me that has happened is that I discovered the world of creativity coaching, which is essentially like life coaching, except focused specifically on a person's creative work or their creative process and blockers or how to set goals and manage time and whatnot. And so I actually started to offer I call it creative coaching instead of creativity coaching. Creativity coaching is probably more accurate, but creative coaching rolls off the tongue better, so I just leave it at that. But I started off by offering creative coaching sessions to some folks for free in order to get their feedback on me as a coach. And that kind of bolstered my confidence to actually start offering it as a service, which is something that I've been doing. And I'm also on track to finish my certification with the Creativity Coaching Association, which hopefully I'll be done with that by the end of this year at the latest. And in fact, it's been a whole year or two of coaching because I've also myself worked with a energy healing coach, a spirituality coach, and a nutrition coach. And I found that me being a coach has brought a certain fulfillment that was sorely lacking because my writing was on hold. And I did also offer some of my dramaturgical services to Musical Cafe for their Next Stages project. There were a few things here and there that I was doing. I'm probably forgetting some other highlights because it's been 2 years and most of the 2 years has just felt like open space for me to sit and think and worry and cry and be afraid and try to feel empowered, etc., etc. But all that to say, for some reason, I feel compelled to start doing this again, and I won't make any big, lofty promises, but something has changed, both, I think, out and about with the pandemic. You know, theaters are opening up again, etc., etc. But like Belle in Beauty and the Beast, Act 2, Toni Braxton version, I feel like there's been a change in me. And so even watching back that last vlog that I did, I feel so different from that person who was vlogging then, back in whatever, May 2020. In a lot of ways, I feel like I have gotten way more centered and grounded with myself and who I am. I've learned a lot through both going through the certification training for coaching as well as actually coaching others. And for the first time in a while, I feel like I have something to say. And I think I needed those 2 years to kind of, like I said, go inward and get to know what's important to me and what I'm about. So what can you expect from this channel moving forward? Well, I am still in a place where I'm under no illusions. I am not trying to go viral. I'm not trying to gain a mass following. However, I did notice that there is still kind of a playwriting / musical theater writing void in the vlogging world. Now, I know on TikTok there's a lot of musical theater, especially where people are sharing songs and making jokes and whatnot, and I think that's hilarious and wonderful. But I've noticed that there's not a whole lot of people kind of offering insight and vlogging about the writing for theater process. I know there's a lot out there for people who write books and people who create art in other formats, visual art, etc., music. But there aren't a whole lot of playwrights who are vlogging, or even musical theater writers who are vlogging. And I feel like that's something I can bring. And I'm not the only one who can bring it. If you feel so drawn and if you want to bring your own perspective, then yeah, let's do this. Let's shed some more light onto this whole theater making game that we're all trying to play. So hopefully, you know, these videos, I have gotten feedback that my year of vlogging, which was really haphazard and kind of naive in a lot of ways, that actually helped people and that actually was meaningful to people. So hopefully I can offer the same. If these videos aren't meaningful to you, you don't have to watch them. You can, you know, just ignore me. You can block me, mute me. I don't care. But I will be sharing, you know, my thoughts and insights on the field of theater, what it takes to actually make stuff, and all the emotions that go along with it. And so if that's meaningful to you, then stay tuned. Now, I am aiming for uploading a video every other week. But given just how zany the universe that we're in is, I reserve the right to change that if needed, but I want to aim for that. And like I said, hopefully it will be of some use or benefit to those who stumble across this, even if just to feel like you're not alone in your writing process. All right, well, that's it for me for now. More to come later. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.